Hey, so here's an issue with Reaper, and I cannot believe it's not a thing, even to this day, 2026, that you cannot see your grid division anywhere on the screen. You don't know what grid division you're at, and the only way to see your grid division is just right-clicking this toolbar in here, which you will have to figure out that's the way to do it, and then you will see it displayed in here. Turns out we're in 1/8, and if we want to change it, you use this drop down menu, and this is just a painfully slow process to change your grid division. This is just the worst. It's such a bad user experience. I do not recommend it doing it that way, and for the longest time my recommendation has been to either set a shortcut to these actions or put them in your toolbar, so that way you can see where you're at and also change it real fast. That's okay, that works, and I actually still have it like that for my MIDI actions, you'll see, and I would usually just click here and that worked fine. It's a good compromise to see where I'm at and also be able to change it real fast, but you can see how much space this is taking. It's like over 10 icons, it's just too much. But luckily a genius boy called FTC made a script called GridBox, and you can find all of the instructions to install this script in the description. It's pretty simple, and when you run it, it looks like this. And when you see it, it makes so much sense. Like, Reaper should have implemented this ages ago. I don't understand why it's not a thing, but I'm so happy that someone came up with this, and it works super seamless, so intuitive. Like, for example, if you hover your mouse over it and you use your mouse wheel, you can change the division just using your mouse wheel. But not only that, you can click on it and set it to triplet, you can set it to dotted or swing and select any percentage that you want in here. But the most interesting thing of this is setting it to adaptive, and this way you don't ever have to change your grid manually. It will just do it in a very smart way. So if I set this to medium, you will notice that as you zoom out and zoom in, it's gonna change the grid. And basically this is a setting to change how wide you want the grid to be or how narrow you want it to get. I always go for narrowest because I like to do very fine tuning like this, so it's gonna show me a very tiny. And of course it's super customizable. You don't necessarily have to have it in there. You can just click and drag it maybe onto one of your toolbars, and it's gonna say it's gonna be attached to this toolbar. Click yes, and now it's there. You can make it narrower, you can make it taller, you can make it smaller like that, and also customize the size, the font, and all these things. But one really cool thing is that if you change themes, for example, I'm going to the Reapertips theme, you will notice that it uses the right colors for this theme, because it will remember them when you set them. The Reapertips theme already comes with the colors, so you don't have to do any tweaking. It will look good right away. And I have one little more surprise for you. If you stretch this like this, you will see a snap icon show up that is just the cherry on top. This is freaking amazing because it makes so much sense to have this over here as well. Just like the grid size, you want to know when your toggle snapping is on or off, so it's just so nice to have it in there. And once you're happy with where it is, you just simply right click on it and select lock position. And you can do the same to run the script on startup, so every time you open up Reaper, it's gonna be there without having to launch it again. Now, are you ready for the next thing? Because this is just as amazing, and it's also made by the same beautiful person, FTC. Seriously, I encourage you to support him. All these things improve your Reaper experience massively, and I really think he deserves your donation, so consider doing it. So here's the final trick. ChordBox, and it's living right over there. Once again, seamless, beautiful, and you can tell where I'm going with this. So now with this script going and you have chords in your session, you can either hover your mouse to see what chord they are, or just play it and it will show you what's playing currently, and it's just so nice. It's done so well, and I love this so much. I love when things just look seamless, like they are part of Reaper without looking like hacky or something like that. And you can of course do all of the same customization that you can do with GridBox. Same thing, you can do it with ChordBox. You can lock the position, move it around, stretch it if you want to see it larger. You can put it in another toolbar, or you can also disable it by just clicking this button. And there's some really useful features. If you click on it, you can export the chords as project regions, project markers, take markers, or a chord track. So let's say we want to do project regions, and you will see, oh, first you have to select the item. Let's do project regions first, and you will see it does the chords as project regions. That's beautiful. And also you can do it the same with markers, and you will see the chords as markers in your project. And the same thing for chord track. This is simply just a track that is pinned at the top with empty items that you can double click to add comments. It's not as cool as Cubase chord track, for example, but I can see it being really helpful. Oh, and lastly, there's also this little ChordBox that you can find in the MIDI editor section, that when you run it, you will see this button here, and it's always gonna show you what chord you're doing right there in your MIDI editor. So very helpful as well. Anyways, that's it for this video, and if you can support FTC, that would be amazing, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.